All right, here we go, section 9.2. We're going to talk about reflections. You've got an awesome image up here of our reflections. But what is a reflection? So reflections use a line of symmetry, or line of reflection, which is this guy right here in the middle, that it flips over and it creates a mirror image of the original figure. So if this was my original image, my pre-image, this is now my image. So we want to reflect the given image over the x-axis. So it's important to know, where is that x-axis? Well, here's x, here's y. So we're going to take the entire axis, the line that creates the x-axis, and we're going to reflect over it. So we've got to see how far away is each point. And we're going to start with just the corners of our triangle. You can do this on your graph at home. So this corner down here in the bottom right is 2 away from the x-axis. So we're going to go on the other side, 2 away. So there's my new point. Just for fun, I'm going to name these A, B, and C so that I can go ahead and name these guys so that we can talk about it a little bit easier. All right, so where is C going to end up? Well, he's also 2 away, so we're going to go 2 down the other way. Here's C prime. A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away from the x-axis. So we got to go 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here is A prime. So we're going to go ahead and draw in our triangle. And we now have the reflection over the x-axis.
So why don't you guys go ahead and try to do this one on your own. And this time, remember, we pay attention which one we're going to use, y and x-axis. And so we're reflecting this triangle, the same one, over the different line. So go ahead and try to reflect that, and then let's check together. So just like Ms. Hurst said, we're going to use the corners, and I'll just name it A, B, and C. Okay, again. Now we start at B. B is 1, 2 from the line, so we have to go 1, 2, so B prime ends up on this side. A is also 2 away, so we're going to go 2 on this side, so this is A prime. But let's pay attention. C is on that right side of the line. Well, we still have to count 1 to the line, so we have to count 1 over. So C prime ends up on the other side of the line. So let's go ahead and connect A, B, and C. And if you see, since the line of reflection, the Y line here, is on top of our image, or our pre-image, they overlap. They end up overlapping each other on top. So make sure you can create that graph on your own.
Okay, for this next one, go ahead and fill in the ordered pairs on your paper. Go ahead and graph it on your paper so that it matches what we've got going on over here. So A is at 1, 3, B is at 5, 2, and C is at 2, 1. So it should look like the image we're showing you on our picture. All right, what we're going to do first, in the first example, is we're going to reflect this in the line N. We're going to call that line x equals 2. Well, since x equals 2 is not just a point this time, it's a line, we've got to figure out, well, what does that look like? We'll go to your x-axis and count over 2 to the right. My line has to go through that point vertically. So here is my reflection line. This is line N. So now that I've got that figured out, I got to go, well, where is A going to end up, where is B going to end up, and where is C going to end up? Well, again, we're just going to count. Well, A is 1 away from that line of reflection. We're going to go to the other side. Here is A prime. B is going to go back the other way. So again, this is going to overlap, just like our last example. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 to get to the line. We're going to keep going. 1, 2, 3. Here's B prime. Well, C is smack dab on that line of reflection. So where does he go? Well, he's already there. So C prime is going to end up in the exact same spot that C is. So we're going to go ahead and graph that, or finish making this a triangle. And we've got our reflected image. What I want you guys to do now is pause this, and on your next graph, go ahead and try reflecting the original picture in the line M, y equals 1. So you don't need, you won't have as big a mess as we do. You're going to do this on your second piece of coordinate plane. And you should end up with, after you pause it, I'll give you a second and try it, you should end up with something. Is this the one we did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's not appearing, so let's go ahead and draw it in, right? So y equals 1, so on the y-axis, there's 1. Here's our line, okay, at y equals 1. So this is line M. All right, so let's take the black triangle to start with. Starting at B, B is 1 away, so we're going to come down, and we're going to label this B double prime because this is our third triangle up there. If you notice, once again, C is on the line, so that stays there. So C double prime will be there. And let's take A. A is 1, 2, so we got to go down 1, 2. So A double prime is here. So our triangle now, okay, oops, did I just mess that up? Didn't I? Looks like that, right? I was connecting it to B. All right, so, sorry about that. There is our y equals 1 reflection.
And again, yours should be a little bit cleaner than ours because you have 2 coordinate planes to graph this on.
All right. Now, these are a set of coordinate rules, and Miss Hurston, we don't have the first 2 memorized per se. These second ones where the line of y equals x and y equals negative x, hopefully you can remember y equals x is the line that goes through the origin with a slope of 1, so that would be that line. And then y equals negative x is the line that goes negative 1 slope down that way on the graph. You will have to memorize these 2 here for with these 2 lines if you're asked to reflect, but the first 2 you can by all means memorize it, but I always just sketch out a graph and like count and, you know, take my time to do that way. I don't know, is that the way you do it too, Ms. Hurst?
For the most part. So what we're saying here is for these you can sketch whenever you need to, and for these you do need to memorize because it's hard to sketch if you don't know exactly where it's going to go. All right, let's do the first example together. All right, we want to know what image of -2, 5 is after a reflection in the x-axis. So in the x-axis, that's this first rule up here, its image is going to be A, negative B. So it's going to stay in the same order. We're going to call this A, this is B. So we want to end up with A, negative B. So A is going to stay the same, B is going to become its opposite. Okay, now if I'm going to sketch this out so that I can think about it, here's my coordinate plane. This is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. -2, 5 is about 1, 2 to the left and 5 up, about here. And I want to reflect over the x-axis. So we're going to go over this line right here. So I'm not going to change how far to the left I am, so that's still going to be -2, but now I'm 5 above it, I need to go 5 below it. And here's my new point. So that's how we come up with -2, -5.
There's one last thing.
Right, so second example, think about this one, look at your rules. If a point in quadrant 1 is reflected in the y-axis, its image will lie in what quadrant? Okay, so hopefully you know your quadrants. So here's quadrant 1, here's quadrant 2, 3, and 4. And I think about it, it makes a C for, because everybody likes cookies. So anyway, we're in quadrant 1. And where in quadrant 1 you want to be, it's reflected in the y-axis, so that's your vertical axis. Where does it end up? And your answer is quadrant 2.
All right, so that's the last of our reflection. Obviously, we reflected the word flipped because we are flipping our classroom. We'll see you guys tomorrow.